Hello and welcome to the SC Playbook podcast, the NRL Supercoach Round 23 edition, proudly brought to you by Mortgage Choice SCW. I'm your host, Tim Williams. The head-to-head finals have arrived on our doorstep, at least for most of you. Some would have started last weekend, some next week, but the vast majority of Supercoach leagues will be playing head-to-head finals this week, and the business end of the season has arrived. Bragging rights will be up for grabs. There'll be people out there with cashies, a bit of money to go into the back pocket if you take the title. I know there's a lot of leagues out there that have punishments for the wooden spooners. And for those who top their leagues and end up as the overall champion, they end up with big prizes and they're treated like kings and queens for a day. It's all happening now. That's all very exciting, but we start this week's podcast on a bit of a somber note. And no, we're not going straight into my team for the week. We're going to a couple of guests on today's show, and they're diehard Shaun Johnson fans, and they slumped into the studio for this week's podcast. And the first of said depressed people, 2021's 91st place finisher. Look, I don't know if he's a Wars fan. I don't know if he's a Tigers fan, a Dragon, a Raider. I do know, though, he's arguably SJ's number one fan. Spy, how you doing, big fella?
Pulling through, mate, pulling through. Whilst I did expect it soon enough, like we know it's coming, the day had to come. Just sitting there yesterday, Arvo, whack, whoa, wasn't quite ready for that. So, yeah, I'm all right. And you know why I'm all right? It's because we got last year. 2023 was a freaking fairy tale. So, happy days. Watch the highlights of that today. It's having a feed at work and we're all good, mate. But, yeah, very sad that I won't be able to tune in next year and get pumped for the Wires and SJ.
And you're right. His career could have petered out with injuries in the back end, but to get last year, which was very, very special, I thought he had 1 year left in him. Off the back of what he did last year, even moments this year, thought he had one more year. But at the end of the day, he's going out. Let's not call it on top, but he almost was off the back of a Dalian medal last year. Yeah, very close to, I should say.
6 months of footy away from being on top, which is, I'm a huge, or the biggest Ricky Ponting fan ever, and I saw that play out in real time where he wasn't his best for a few years, and I tell you, it hurts. So happy for my boy to go out on top. And before we strike a line through the Wars, 4 wins and a bye to end the season. They might just sneak into 8. So let's fire up this Sunday versus the Finns.
They just got pumped by the Eels by, was it 30-6 at one point or something in New Zealand playing for the season, please.
Did you see those last 8 minutes?
Against 12 players. Also with us today, 2021's 6th place finisher, Clementine Cassidy, an actual Wars fan. Clem, how are you handling the news?
I'm completely heartbroken. Like, it is pretty devastating, but as Spy said, you could kind of see it coming. It would have to happen, I guess. But yeah, so glad as well that we got 2023, the fairy tale year, so good. And I'm going to ride this optimism. 4 wins and a bye. There is a chance. There is a chance.
Clem, absolutely. is that trigger finger getting itchy? Just send SJ out with a farewell. He's very cheap. No one owns him.
I am so tempted to bring in SJ. It's not funny. My little brother over in New Zealand has already done it. I am that tempted.
Yeah, there'll be a few jumping on board that one. Also with us today, as always, Matty the Waterboy. Matty, how are you, mate?
I'm good. Nothing to add. Nothing much to add. Just a normal week. My team, I know we'll get to that. My team went not too good, not too bad. I'm just kind of, I got 2 eyes on next year, to be honest.
Just thereabouts.
It's just, seriously, I didn't go up, didn't go down. It was just like, whatever.
Good way to launch into the team results for the week, Matty.
In case you don't know, we know who Matty goes for, and that's an accurate reflection of how he's felt for a while now, the poor bugger.
Yeah, and we got Storm this week, so that's fun.
Spy, how'd your side go on the weekend, mate?
I'm the most consistent performer in World Supercoach at the moment. I still haven't gone anywhere outside of the 4s and 5s for about 3 months. I'm so bored of it. Not the game, my results. I'm like, up a little bit, down a little bit, up a little bit. It's crazy. Started last Thursday night, bought in Val against the Tigers. Also played Samuel Afenu. Like, how good's this? I'm flying. And like we spoke about before, I thought I did all right, barring a couple of, major disasters. I went up like 90 spots, so... Yeah, it's just a middling year for me, mate. Have saved trades, as we discussed, so that carnage that is ensuing, I've sort of somewhat managed to avoid. So the ultimate game plan of flying home in the last month could yet come to fruition. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, pretty steady, mate.
Yeah, ensuring it is playing out very much. Players dropping like flies, which we'll get to shortly in 10 minutes. What did you score on the weekend, Spy?
Good question. It was... Lost it, 12-something.
12 something.
Yeah.
There you go. Good
There you go.
good analysis. Clem, how about yourself? Tough weekend.
Well, I started off with a bang, so I bought in Val and was really stoked with that. But then it all went downhill from there. So I did not have Danny Levi outscoring Little Peppy on my bingo card. So I had Little Peppy in my team. And I have to give a shout out to someone. I have to give a shout out to Jaden Brayley, who literally tried to carry my entire team on Sunday on his back. That was pretty much one of my best scorers. And when you know Brayley is the shining light in your team, it's just 4 red flags.
Yeah, that's a drama. For the Cooma Stallions, look, I mentioned we were opening the podcast on a pretty somber note. It doesn't get much better. 1,155 points. Same as you. Thursday night just came firing out of the blocks. We had Samuel Afinu, played him for his ton, had Val Holmes, didn't loop him, so I didn't have the VC in him, but that's okay. It was a good own. I had Reece Robson, who dropped the ball over the line with about a minute to play, which would have been 3 from 3 tons to start the round. But anyway, it was all good. Then we got on to Saturday, and Payne Haas goes down injured after about 10 minutes. Ryan Pappenhausen came out of the blocks himself and belted his way to 11 full points, all on his own. Congrats, Pappy. Almost VC looped him after that one. It was a tough decision on Sunday morning, that. But yeah, so I dropped another 1,000 spots. Didn't even think it was possible, but
There you go.
13,000 overall. So, look, it's not happening for the Stallions at the moment, but the top lip, we're going to keep it up. We're going to keep fighting and see how we go from here. It's all good.
That's all good, mate. What is it? They say form is temporary, class is permanent, so fingers crossed for that one.
I'm just hoping for these injuries to hit, I'll tell you what. Guys, the SC Playbook Unlimited. I like talking about this after my score each week because it's a bit more of an upbeat tone. Bryce's boys, coached by Blake in first overall, retains his spot. Mark Barnes from NRL Supercoach All-Stars in second overall. Not actually in our Unlimited League. You're a dog, Barnesy, but he's a good man, so I'd like to see him take it home as well. Reece on the pod last week from the winner, a great podcast debut, has dropped to 4th overall. Martin Bigg, the former champion, into 5th overall, eyeing becoming the first Supercoacher to win 2 titles, which would be remarkable.
Massive stuff, that.
The quick update on our socials, not much of an update. It is still down our Instagram. Cannot get that account back. Trying to get it sorted. In the meantime, guys, we are posting, I should say, our NRL content via our cricket channel. So that's SC Playbook Cricket. All the same stuff over there. So jump on and give it a follow and do us a favour on that one to keep up to date. And of course, our subscription package. If you would like to get a leg up, I should say, heading into head-to-head finals, subscribe to SC Playbook. That'll get you extra premium articles to round out the season and throughout head-to-head finals, access to our WhatsApp group, our late mail threads. You've heard it all before. On top of that, you'll be supporting the site and podcast for all the time and effort that goes into it across the season. Prices drop to $30 to access it. Do so via the menu on the SC Playbook website. We've also got, I mentioned the last couple of weeks, we have end-of-season catch-up for the SC Playbook subscribers. A bunch of the crew coming along for that one. Spy, Clem, I think you're in at this stage.
Hopeful. Definitely hopeful.
That's about the best you can get out of your Spy at times. It's hopeful, so we'll take it.
I hopefully have a rugby league grand final the next day, but we'll see how that all pans out.
You can come for a water.
I'll still come for a few waters and a good day.
Clem, you're in?
Oh, I'm definitely there. I can't wait.
Yeah, someone's reliable on this panel. But yes, that will be the Saturday of round 27. I'll let you know where the venue is, times and that sort of thing, close to the date. But yeah, Saturday, Super Saturday of round 27. Guys, on today's show, Team List Tuesday analysis. Eliesa Katoa, Beau, Fermor, the latest shot casualties on Team List, not ones that we expected. A couple of topics for today's show. The first one being strategy to win your head-to-head finals. We'll deep dive into that, particularly for those that are a little bit new to head-to-head and Supercoach, how to go about it, because there are a lot of little bits and pieces that you can put into your team outside of trades and that sort of stuff to get a leg up against your rivals. Second topic of the show, Payne Haas, over 50% ownership amongst top-ranked teams. Who are the best replacements for the Broncos enforcer? Hot topics for the show, hold or sell Dom Young and James Tedesco, currently the second and third most traded on the list. We'll get to that shortly. We drop our round 23 trade and skipper plans, listener questions, wrapping it up. Kiraz versus Lomax for head-to-head finals. Who's the best play? Now, let's get stuck into it for today's show. And, guys, it is week 1 of head-to-head finals. And, of course, when we come onto the show each week, it is with a very much overall focus the way we talk about it. We try to integrate head-to-head content when we can. But it is a week for head-to-head Supercoaches. So while we were going down our normal avenues, we will try and look through it with a bit more of a head-to-head lens than normal for those that want to win week 1 of head-to-head finals. But firstly, team list. And at the South Sydney Rabbitohs, Cody Walker returns there. I suppose they won their spy. There's a few buys that have emerged at 5'8", between Cameron Munster, who's bottomed out. Matty Burton looks a decent little play. There's a couple others there. Hold on to Cody Walker, or would you be looking to move him on?
Who the Bunnies got this week?
The Storm.
Storm, that's tough, yeah. I think it's that classic situation. You've got some trades up your sleeve. You might be one to trade, but I mean, you've also got another 5'8". You can sit him on the bench this week if you're in that luxury position. But I don't know. It's kind of that time of year where I don't necessarily want to be trading someone like Cody out. You don't have to necessarily have him as your best player in your squad, but I mean, with numbers dwindling, I'm sure it'll do some sort of a job for you.
Yeah, there's no one sort of like banging the door down, Cameron Munster included, to say, buy me. I'm with you. I think if you've got the trades, you could make a move there. But if you are running low, sub 3 or 4, you've got to... He's playing, so he's fit.
Good head-to-head play in terms of if you're in a knockout head-to-head clash and your opponent has him, you go, well, let's get him out of there. So I don't mind it in that sense. I mean, it's still a 4-week final series, isn't it? So I'd suggest there's probably bigger dilemmas this year across the board. This week, sorry.
And one that is going to absolutely kill a lot of Supercoaches out there. This is on a week where the Sydney Roosters are on the bye, and there are a lot of very relevant Supercoach players in that team. So teams are already going to be a little bit light on. I mentioned it before, Katoa out for the Melbourne Storm. An absolute dagger. Look, it impacts the majority of Supercoach. I don't have exact ownership, but I'd imagine amongst top-ranked teams it'd be that 80 sort of plus %. Trent Liero moves to the edge, and Nelson Solomon, a big nasty, moves to lock. We'll get to him a little bit later in the front row forward conversation. I think firstly, Spy, do we have any word on Katoa's injury or Matty around what it I think it's a knee injury.
I know is knee. I haven't heard of anything outside of that.
Okay.
So.
Clem... Massive dagger for Supercoaches.
Oh, it really is. I'm a Katoa owner. At this point, I'm going to be holding him. Just trades are running low, and I've got someone I can slide into that place. But I think, if you're in head-to-head finals, I think that maybe you could look at moving him on. We don't know how long the injury's for, and you don't want to end up, losing it because you can't play one of your big players.
So here's a question for you, Spite. We don't know, as it stands, how long Ellie's out for. Like, to my knowledge, he got through the minutes on the weekend, didn't he? I think he got through the game. He didn't get through it. Sorry, apologies.
Okay.
So let's hypothesise this. How many weeks would he have to be out for to trade? And let's talk head-to-head, not let's talk overall. How do you view it?
More than one. But if he's out again next week, with obviously no certainty return after that, that's when I would be having a look at, okay, well, someone in my position, I want Crichton next week. I'd have to consider going Eliesa Katoa to Angus Crichton next week, if that's on the cards. But, I mean, hopefully we know something by then.
Yeah.
If he's out this week and next, I'm happy to hold him for the last 3 weeks. Absolutely. But, again, he's too good not to hold on to, really.
What a matchup to miss against the Bunnies.
I know.
A Storm side who have just lost. Like, they're going to come out fired up.
Clementine's laughing at me. Why are you laughing at me?
I'm not laughing at you.
Or are you looking at your second row position at the moment?
Well,
because I was saying it for this weekend.
I just realised that I don't have anyone to slide in there for him.
I know.
The next player on the list, I am also missing.
On Ellie Katoa, just
Tuesday
quickly,
dagger.
I'm with you. I think for overall players, if he's only out 1 week, hold firm, 100%. If you're looking at 2+, well, then you can maybe look at him being your ticket to Angus Crichton, which is a pretty nice little move there. Head-to-head players, if they say he's out 1 week and it's just giving him a rest and giving him a week off, I would hold. If you're head-to-head playing, it's 2+ weeks. They're your first 2 weeks head-to-head finals. You can look to sell.
He does have Penrith next week.
Yeah.
If returning, I believe. But I mean, he's also a comp winner. Those preceding 2 weeks in either overall your head-to-head prelim and grand final.
Yeah.
He could go ton, So, yeah, I'm pretty reluctant to sell Ellie unless you need to.
I am too. Clem, Beau Fermor is out with a bruised kidney. I do not know how long a bruised kidney keeps you out for. It sounds awful, but it's also a bruise. Bruises aren't that bad. He'll be all right.
Yeah.
Talk to us, Clem.
I just realised that, no, I don't have anyone to slot in for Katoa because that would be Beau Fermor and he's out. But yeah, Beau Fermor has been an absolute gun, hasn't he? I actually set him for his 90-odd points last round, which was, just the things I do this season. But yeah, so I now need to decide. He's a dual and I can swap him down to CT dub, I think. So I can possibly get someone else in my second row. But I would hold him until we knew how long he's out for. I don't know. I just think he's such a gun player and he's just playing so well.
Do you still...
That's why I sit him all the time.
Yeah, great faith. Do you still have Benchaboy by any chance?
I do not, no.
Okay, so, yeah, okay. But there's options there.
There's some, like, sneaky jewels.
Do you have Joe Chan in your back row?
I have Joe Chan and I also have, I've got a
That's just
couple,
interesting, yeah. He's not playing, I was just curious.
Ripping. Poor old Clem. Spy with a
Shall we just rip the
vengeance.
bandage off now? Spy is literally decimating me in our personal head-to-head.
For now.
But I'm not quitting.
There's still a long way to
If
go.
the Warriors can make the 8, then I can beat Spy still.
I would nearly give you that.
Adding to the carnage, Braden Trindle out with a hamstring injury. It is only minor. Blake Brayley named at halfback. But yeah, Trindle out. Sounds like he's a decent chance next week. Spy, it's a similar enough boat to Eli Katoa on. The fact that he's only a week, I think you probably hold him. Head-to-head players becomes a bit trickier, doesn't it?
Oh, it's awkward with Trindle. Hammy, like hamstring. It also sucks for the Sharks. Anyone who's got back. I mean, someone like Iro will do his job, but yeah, Trindle, put it like this, I'd pull the trigger on Trindle way quicker than I would on Eli Katoa.
Yeah.
If you can find someone of value just to sneak in there. But it's a real frustrating one for owners, that one, I'll tell you what.
It's the 1 week you want him. So, yeah, look, again, it's a bit hard because it's all team dependent, how many trades. If you're flush with trades and you've saved them for this time of year, sweet, move Trindle on. Make that play. Because with a hamstring injury as well, you know, they're comfortably in the 8. They are fighting for a top 4 spot, very important. Nico's out, but it's a hamstring. They need him back end of the season for those final few rounds.
I'm going to base nearly all my answers tonight on minimal trades because I just know that's across the board.
Yeah, okay.
If you've got like 6, 7, 8 plus, trade these guys for sure because you've got room to do it. But yeah,
You can nearly work off sub 5 for the majority.
yeah, for sure.
Moving down the list, Dane Laurie is back from a concussion at fullback for the Penrith Panthers. Mole Olakau'atu returns for the Manly Warringah Seagulls, as does Lehigh Hopewade on the wing. Ben Trebojevic moves to the bench. Ruben Cotter returns from a head knock at lock for the Cowboys. Corey Oates dropped by the Broncos. Josiah Karapani starts on the wing. Ezra Mann, Payne Haas both out.
Reece Wells trained at 6 today. That's
Did
exciting.
he?
Yeah.
Who trained at fullback? Tristan Saylor.
It has to be Saylor, wouldn't it? That's pretty
But
exciting.
Tristan Taylor's gone over.
Still there. Yep.
He's going overseas though,
Next
yeah?
Yeah, but he's named in the 17.
So,
yeah.
Reece at 6 by the looks of it, which could be fun to watch.
Wow, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
I don't actually like it at all, but like Supercoach aside, but anyway.
Short, obviously a short term,
Very
like
short.
last ditch sort of effort. Yeah, it's an interesting one.
Anyway, Josh Curran named for the Canterbury Bulldogs despite a shoulder concern last week's game. We got to Sunday and I had a few injuries across the weekend. Dom Young was the other one, of course. We'll get to him shortly. And then when Josh Curran went down about 20 minutes into that game against the Raiders, I just went like, cut us a break.
Come on, guys.
Anyway, thank God he's a tough bugger and he came back on the field and got through it. So he's been named, so that's very promising. It was believed to be an AC joint injury on the weekend, but really good signs that he came back, finished the game. So hopefully all
You're
is
right,
well.
he's so tough. When they said, he's a chance to return, he's coming back.
Yeah,
Josh
he'll
Curran,
be
of
right.
course he is.
Jermaine Asako, this was a big one for a lot of owners out there. I actually cut ties with him last week. Named despite that ankle concern later on in the game, failed to finish that fixture. So good news for Asako owners, especially on a week where people are going to be a little bit tight.
Still
on
has to
numbers.
pass fitness test, FYI. But yeah, named is obviously a big
It
start.
helps. Tavita Pangai Jr. returns at prop from a little hamstring niggle. Roger Tuivasa-Sheck is at centre and Ed Kosi on the wing. All right, let's get stuck into our first topic of the show, and it is head-to-head final strategy to help you win your matchups. And, you know, experienced Supercoach players out there will probably sit there and say, you know, I know this, I've been playing for years, I've got it. There are a lot of newbies to Supercoach. Might be your first timer, it might be your second or third year in the game. There are a lot of tips and tricks that you can implement into your team this weekend to give you the best chance of winning through to the next round of finals. We're going to go tit for tat here with you two Waz icons. Who would like to start us off? Clem?
Pick us up.
Oh, why not? I bet my 9-year-old niece to make 2 out of 20 of my head-to-head finals, so I am quite a connoisseur of head-to-head. But I did consult Maxi Bryden, and he has directed me to his glorious articles on the website, so definitely check those out. So first of all, study your opponent. So see what players you have that are unique and what you have that are common, and just really sort of see where you're sitting and just focus on that one opponent.
Yeah, and that is it, Clem. Numero uno, number one rule to head-to-head Supercoaching at this time of year is correct. Via Clementine, Cassidy, via Maxi Bride, and via wherever it might have come from. Have a look at your team. Have a look at their team. Assess midway through the weekend how you're looking. And the big one, I'm sure Spy will probably touch on it, but your captains. If you're sitting there going, I'm in strife here, I think they've got the upper hand on me and I don't know if I can catch them, and you've both got it on the most popular captain of the weekend, whoever that may be, it might be a Nathan Cleary or someone, you can't go the same as them. You have to differ your team and pick someone different. It might be a sit v start decision where you've both got the same player. You might have to drop a player that you like to give yourself a differential. Spy, hit us.
I'll roll into that.
Yep.
Nathan Cleary will be very popular. If your opponent thinks they're going to beat you, they're going to have Cleary, almost certainly. He's obviously in form. Rose will match up this weekend. They play Friday night at 8, I believe, or 7:50 or something. Start your weekend with your captaincy on Nathan, for sure, because you don't have to change it to like 7:54 or 1 minute before kickoff. And that is a lot. That's a very minimal time for the opponent then to go, ooh, am I going to change it and match them, or am I going to keep it on Cleary? Like, you will get the captain for the rest of the weekend. You can then figure out who you want. So start with Nath. When it kicks off Thursday night, make sure it's on Nath and make your decisions from there. Yeah,
and captains are probably the best way to differentiate this time of season. Of course, if you've got trades up sleeve, that too, but spot on there, Spy, sit on Cleary, and if, you might be 2 games in, you might have had a few injuries, they might have had players ton up. A minute before the game, just flip it over to whoever you want to do it. Word of warning, be very, very careful that you do it at the right time and you do not leave it too late, especially you might be watching on KO or somewhere that's delayed and you think, there's a minute till the team's running out. You've got a minute before kickoff to get in and lock it in, but you don't realise that KO's delayed by a minute and all of a sudden you're gone and you might be stuck with, Karapani as your captain or something like that.
Could be a masterstroke.
So just be very careful. I would say do not do it within a minute unless you're feeling very bold, but
I used to work on about 40 seconds. I'd go into it. Hopefully into it about 10 seconds, then you get it done with about 20 to go.
Did you ever have head-to-head finals? Like I certainly know I have over the years, probably more before I went all into playing overall, and back in the day when I was a bit more head-to-head focused, where you knew that whoever you were playing was watching your team like a hawk, and you'd change with 40 seconds to go, and then you'd do the double change within the last 20 seconds.
Double change, loved it. You were similar, but I was hardcore head-to-head for like my first 10 years. I loved it because it is good fun. On the flip side to that strategy, you can do the opposite. If you know you're going to win or you're looking pretty good, start the weekend with some, not rogue skipper, make it like, I don't know, someone who's believable. And if you really just want to lock Nathan in, do the opposite, flip it onto Nathan with 40 seconds to go.
A good example's like, straight C. A lot of people are bringing Cam Munster this week. Let's say your opponent brings in Cam Munster, or they might already have them. Straight C them. And then just before kick-off, whip that on to Nathan Cleary or something like that.
Make it like Fafita or something unbelievable, because then you'll flip straight back to Cleary. They'll think they've got their unique pod skipper on you, and you go, thanks for coming, just matched you. Suck it.
Well, that's it. Yeah, it works in advance. We speak about if you're trying to gain an advantage and trying to catch up points and on going off them, but it works the exact same way. Make it
in reverse.
Do it in reverse. Do it a believable skipper, but then go to Cleary, who you know they're going to have it on.
Yeah, and they won't have time. They'll go, bugger. I don't get my unique, so there we go.
Yeah, I'm glad that I made the move back to head-to-head focus this year and not overall. And, ranks 13K, but focusing on my head-to-head leagues.
It's about the premiership ring.
Exactly right. That's what we're all about on this podcast. Clem, what do you got?
Well, as sneaky as you can be, your opponent can be just as sneaky. So you need to watch the app. You need to just live in the app for the entire round, and you need to be the app. So you need to watch for any little sneaky moves that they make.
Exactly right. And if you sit there and you think, my opponent isn't that crafty, they don't think about this, you can never trust a super coach. So be ready and be ready to adapt to what they do. Spite?
Next one, what have we got here? I've just written mind games with heaps of capital letters. Trade someone in early. So maybe on a Friday you might just bring in some bloke who's all right, but you never intend to play. They don't have them. They'll start panicking and do the exact same thing. 30 seconds before they lock out, they might try and match you, your opponent, and they'll end up with Karapani, and you're back to someone you really wanted. So that's not a bad little one. It's nearly all about this last minute stuff, but you need to think from their perspective, right? So when you're going to do it, you think, okay, if I do this, they're going to see this and either match me or know I'm bluffing. But the later you leave it, who wins the game of chicken? So that's why sometimes, and make sure your internet's working as well. That's a big one, because if your app doesn't load, you're done.
If your app doesn't load or and your internet's dropped out, you're going to have to. Well, your Supercoach season could be done. You're gonna have to buy yourself a new phone because you'll have thrown it through your TV, which you'll also need a new one of. It's just going to be drama all around. So all of these come with a word of warning of do not do it too late.
Actually, you go.
Anything else there, Clem?
Me, well, project the matchup, clearly. Just look at kind of who, if it looks like you're going to be ahead, behind, or close, because there's different strategies you can take depending on where your projection looks. I think your best bet is to go to the website and read Max's strategies on that. But there's, things like, if you look like you're likely to win, you're controlling the matchup. So can you actually hold some of your trades and make it through to the next round? And little good tips like that.
We've got on the website at the moment, on the homepage, we've got the head-to-head finals draw over the next month. What Maxi's actually done there, he's done the finals draw and strength of the schedule there. If your final started last week, if it starts this week, and if it starts next week, he's got it all covered, the big fella.
Maxi.
That's on there. The one that Clem just alluded to of Maxi's, which is strategy-based, we'll also get that back up on there in social this week as well. But if you scroll down and you listen to it right now, go and check that out. Spy.
You mentioned something there, projections, Clementine. Do your own projections. If you've got 6 players versus 6, projections mean nothing. They're just a computer model that sometimes I think that computer goes out on, has a few too many beers, then just lays out 148 for something. Like, how did you get this? Or a 34. So just have a little target of what you think your opponent guys will score, and then do your own. That'll give you an idea of sort of if you're in the game or not, and what you need to do.
Yeah, great one. The projections on site, they're not good. And I know I get a lot of questions from people or mates asking about them. They're not good. Just do your own projections. They're much, much more accurate. Anything else to add there, guys, or are we sweet?
I have a question for the listeners. Sorry, I was cut you off then.
This isn't a live show, Spy. They can't reply back to us. Unless Matty's going to reply.
Do you want me to teach you about technology?
Yeah, go. It is.
Punishments for the wooden spoon. NBA draft that we do each year. It's a bit like Guru's NRL draft, it's hectic. Come up with a few good punishments that are yet to be laid down because everyone needs to agree. I want your best wooden spoon punishments sent through when you listen to this, and because I need to lock one down for this upcoming season.
Ripper, let us know in the comments of the YouTube show your punishments for losers of the leagues, and you can also probably throw in there any prizes, obviously non-cash related, are there any good prize that people have,
just anything good,
King for a day, that sort of stuff, Pampered, whatever it might be.
Give us a call on the landline here, 134789.
Send a fax.
123 Spy. All right.
Sorry, just on Katoa before. So he didn't play the 80, but he got injured and come back on.
Right.
So that
Who's this, sorry?
Eli Katoa.
Interesting.
So can't be that.
And Melbourne going the way they are despite the loss on the weekend, if there's the slightest niggle, they don't need to risk him.
Because they want to rest some blokes, right? They probably don't ideally want to mass rest the entire squad, round 26, whatever the chat is. So if they can get a week out of Ellie here and a couple others leading in, that would make sense to me.
If they give him a rest, maybe plays through the rest of the season, doesn't have that late one.
Well, I don't think he would rest in 2 weeks, if he misses this. So, that's why I'm a bit of a hold.
All righty, let's move on to topic 2. Front row forwards. Payne Haas. Down, gone, Liz Frank season. Massive blow. I mean, I'm whinging and moaning. At least I got one good score out of him 2 weeks ago, and then 18 on the weekend. Owned by over 50% of top-ranked Supercoaches. The question is where to now, because it's not easy. There are no real sort of standard options. Now, we're just going to make our way down the list of based on highest average of the season in front row forward position. And Adam Fanua-Blake is currently number 1 at 71.6 point average for the season, 687k. And Clem, I'll start with you with AFB. If you don't own him, he looks a decent pickup. The concern is if the Wars are one game away from dropping out, he's leaving next season. What do his minutes look like? What does his output look like? I'm not convinced.
No, he wouldn't be my first pick on this list. Just as you said, his minutes might drop. And then you've missed a chance of getting another couple of the guys who can score those big points for you. So I would definitely, that wouldn't be my first choice.
And the other major issue with Adam Fanua-Blake, and this doubles down for number 2 that I'll throw at you, Spy, I'll throw at both of you. The Warriors have the bye in round 27. That's going, like, historically has been an extremely tricky round to navigate. Mitch Barnett, dual to our front row forward, 826k, averaging 71 for the season, but he's got a 5-round average of well in excess of that, 94.2. The form front rower of the competition, certainly in Supercoach terms. Would you look to go either AFB or Mitch Barnett?
AFB not overly keen. In saying that, I'm only half joking about that Warriors make the 8 thing, and it might be that they don't make it. But if they win this weekend, we know there's a bye coming. That's 4 points accumulated. That leaves 3 games they need to win. By the time they finish having a crack, you might find AFB plays most of the 4 games while they're still in contention.
If they
on
stay
the flip
alive,
side, if they lose this weekend, thanks for coming.
Yeah.
So it's a huge risk. I'm not as keen on AFB. I am still pretty keen on Mitch Barnett. I'm going to ignore that price. You'll know if you can afford him, but if you can afford Mitch Barnett, I think they're more likely to run him some minutes on the way home. He's sort of an integral cog in the works there. He's there next season, whereas I think AFB is the one more likely to lose minutes. Or do they run AFB into the ground and give Barnett a rest for next season? I mean, that makes sense as well.
See, look, if there's a blank slate and you're just picking the informed front row in Supercoach, you pick Mitch Barnett. But, well, unfortunately, that's not how it works, Spy. He's 826k, and that's a lot of, in Guru's words, bicky that you need to spend up. And I look at it and I just go, I am on a lot of looking at getting Angus Crichton back into my team next week.
But no, they're not my top choice.
I can't justify the price tag for Mitch Barnett.
Yeah, I wouldn't be buying him.
Yeah. Also, as good as he is, and his base is very good, a lot of attacking stats in that time. Moving down the list, and someone who does appeal a little bit more, 652k, Joseph Tarpany was enormous with 98 points on the weekend against the Doggies. His minutes are strong. He's consistent. He started offloading a lot more on the weekend as well. 4 offloads in that one. I think Joe Tarpany is right up there with the top option, Spy.
He probably would be the top option, mate, yeah. Doggies, very small pack. So he probably did some damage there, and they probably found it pretty hard to wrap him up. But even weeks before that, 71, 60, 68, 55, 89, without any attacking stats, really. So the Raiders right in the mix. You'd be pretty happy to own him.
His minutes
There's
will
no
be
real
good.
dramas there.
They'll fight in a lot of games.
They need to win games.
He won't let you down, and he's also... We haven't seen it a lot out of Joe Tarpany in recent years, but with the offload going, and he's got footwork at the line... I feel stupid, I keep saying this. There is attack in him. Like, he's got it there. We just haven't seen it in a couple of seasons.
Where's it gone? Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It does exist. Clem, Joe Tarpany, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I really like him as a trade, and he's only 30k more. And 98 points last week, 71 the week before. I just think, it's just a nice, easy swap there, isn't it? Yeah,
no bias to come. Looks a pretty solid option there. Shooting down the list, we'll get to probably a few more cheaper options as we go. And look, you two, feel free to flag any as we go down, but there's a few injury ones there. Ruben Cotter, 600k. The Cowboys have a bye to come.
He's one I listed. He's now back. Prior to the injury, 63, 103, 67. So he's the kind of bloke that'll do a job, but I'd much prefer Tarpany.
I'd like Cotter if there was no bye.
Yeah, the bye's a pain.
Yeah.
But he's rock solid.
The old saying goes, I need to get this right. The best ability is availability.
Yes.
I've stuffed that up before on this show. And if you're missing a game on the run home and also coming off a head knock, that's always a concern. I just think I want someone who's there playing every game.
Definitely.
Yeah. Moving down the list a little further, Samuel Afino. He's another one who with the dual positioning, but Tigers out of contention. I do expect him probably to play 80 minutes every week, but there's a bye for the Tigers, so I'm not too convinced on that one. Jamin Jolliffe, he's back from injury last week at a cheap price, but what do his minutes look like on the run home? Could consider someone like Corey Jensen maybe with Payne Haas out or Xavier Willis in the 2 starting front rows who could pick up more minutes at the Broncos Spy or...
You'd love to give it a week and see how, if you can, because obviously a lot of us might own someone like Sammy Hughes or someone like that who could potentially punch you 40 this week, and then you can reassess. But again, if they punch you 20 and you wait, it's going to frustrate things. So, look, I think it's pretty simple. Really. If you can get to a Tarpany or a similar type this weekend.
Okay, well, I'll throw a few at you that I genuinely believe are options at this cheaper rung. And as we get down in price, there's no one that you're bringing in that are going to be better scoring potential buys than the few that we've already mentioned up top there, because they're the best and they're the most expensive for a reason.
Just quickly, Joshua Curran as well. I know he's got the shoulder, but with Max King out,
sorry, that's fair.
He's a weapon, but that shoulder would concern me. And as a result, I wouldn't buy him, but as an owner, I hope he's good to go.
Yeah. So part two of this is the cheaper ones. We go that sort of sub 500k category, and I'm in a position where I've got Samuel Afino and Josh Curran in my front row, along with Payne Haas. I have eyes to Angus Crichton next week and Joey Manu. I had planned this week a trade to free up some cash. So when Haas went down, I thought, bugger, but okay, can this be my way to free up some cash as a third front rower that I don't need to play barring injury or anything, or a buy to Samuel Afino will be one. But so I've looked through some of these options, and there's a few that are reasonable. Tevita Pangai Jr., had he not missed last week's game with a hamstring twinge, he would have been an option at 451k, Clem. Dual 2RF, front row forward. Tevita, who throughout his career has had hamstring injuries, that's a concern.
Yeah, he's not my favourite. I probably wouldn't, but if you wanted to bring him in and free up some cash, I mean, you're going to make a little bit of coin there, aren't you? I probably wouldn't, no.
Spite?
I've never been a big fan of him. There is upside, I see what you're saying, and just like last week, he's just so unreliable. For whatever reason it might be, I'm not keen.
Yeah, no.
But he has upside. He's the kind of bloke you play him. He can score and knock out a 90, no dramas.
Yeah, there's an option there, but I agree. Look, a few that you can consider there, like I'm not keen on Mo Foddaway. I had a bit of a look at Daniel Saifidi. His minutes have been good the last 4 or 5 weeks. He did score a try on the weekend, but he's ticking along half right at a decent price. But there is one here that has come to mind for me, and I need to acknowledge one, Nicholas Moon, writer of the Weekly Wrap. Mooney flagged this to me actually last week, and it's Taniela Paseka at 302k. Now, it sounds gross. Rank, some would even say. However, there is merit to this option. He's a 45 to sort of 50, even 55-minute forward for the Manly Seagulls. He was injured he's only 2 games back from injury, or 1 game back from injury. So 2 games back from injury. He was injured a while ago, had a single-digit score against the Dragons, came back and played a 30-minute game, so he's dropped right down in price. He's, as I said, about a 50-minute averaging forward. Manly will need big minutes for him on the run home. Their buys are done after last week. He played last week and he scored 55 with 55 in base or something, sort of prior to the bye. I think he can average that 45 to 50 on the way home. A little bit of attacking upside in him. He's a big boy. He can tackle bust. He can offload and do all that. Spy, he's currently priced, I'll get this up, but I'm pretty sure it's on a 30-point average for a bloke who averaged 54 last year or the year before. I actually like it.
He's perfect. Yep. I only in draft and have at different times in the front row there. Not going to set the world alight. If you need to play him, you're reasonably happy you can get 40 or 50 out of him, if not more. He might get you a 60 or 70 on that day. So 300k, I would not look past him to free up cash. Thanks for coming.
I thought the same.
Yep.
And as I said, I'm not saying he's going to come out there and score more than Joe Tarpany or Adam Fanua-Blake, but the bloke's 350k cheaper than them. Like, if you're looking at Mitchell Barnett, and I know there's 5 rounds to go and that it's points, but someone bringing Mitch Barnett, he's $526,000 cheaper than him.
Yeah.
What can you do with that money on the run home? Yeah. So what are your thoughts, Clem? Really throwing a spanner at you here from left field, but big TP.
I've honestly never ever considered him, but if Nick Moon says it's good, then I am all for whatever Nick Moon says. So yeah, go and do it. Make some cash, bring him in.
302,000, it's just perfect.
Forget so TPJ, there's a new TP in town. There is another option though. Like,
what if you have the right duels? You could instead trade out Payne Haas and maybe bring in like a gun second row, or even if you've got the right duels, you could bring in a gun CT dub. So there is another option beyond just bringing in a front row.
If I had the right duels and could get Angus Crichton, I would, but I can't. No, but you're very correct. If you're in a position where you do have, like all my duels are in front row at the moment, so I can't, but you're correct. If you can get a back row in for him, ignore front row, get someone good.
Yes.
The lucky last one, and let me have a look at what his price, but I mentioned him earlier, Big Nasty, Nelson Sofa-Solomona. Particularly if we get word that Eli Katoa's out a bit longer. Again, not great, but Nelson Sofa-Solomona's 323k. He's starting at lock this week. There are no more buys to come. Maybe gets a rest late in the season. I'm not sure if he will. He had a few weeks off earlier on. What do you reckon about him, Spy? The scoring isn't great, but he's building into bigger minutes. We know the bloke's got attack in him. If he can... It's a similar vein to Taniela Paseka, to be fair.
I'd much prefer Paseka.
Yep.
Short answer. Nelson, he just doesn't look. He's just not what Nelson once was. No. Still smiling at me over there? Just intrigued with what I've got to say?
I'm just hanging on to every word.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, he just looks... He just doesn't look as fit as he once was, or whether that's injuries or whatever. But remember a couple of years ago, you terrified every run. Blokes were scared of him.
I remember I'm sure it was last year, he might have moved to the edge at one point. He was playing big minutes, then he was getting decent minutes through the middle. I remember looking at him going, I could do it. I could bring in Nas.
Yeah, absolutely. But physically, he's off. I must admit, I didn't watch last Saturday's game as closely as I was having a pool contest at the pub while watching it. So
You're
it's hard to comment on that one.
Player as well.
Did I? Got done in a tight one, actually, yeah. What a battle it was.
Hey,
Ordinary when drunk, mind.
Natty, I'll throw to you, mate. Did you end up on the Payne Haas bandwagon or not?
No, thank goodness. Thank goodness. But I, like everyone else, do have Katoa, which is annoying. But yeah, no, avoided Haas, which is nice.
I came in here today and I'm like, 50% of top-ranked Supercoaches in the top 10% owned Payne Haas. I'm like, statistically speaking, someone in this room should own Payne Haas, and no one has Payne Haas. Nor does Guru, who I have to put up with tomorrow.
It is crazy.
Topic 3. Which, short and sharp on this one, but in the spirit of the Olympics and the Australian success, which Olympians are you bringing into your team to save your Supercoach season? Clem, I know you have got a few rippers in store for us. Who have you found?
Strap in.
So I'm going to start with the obvious one. I think he's a bit of a must-have. So Noah Lyles, of course. So the speed, the confidence, the 1%ers, just getting his chest over the line. Like, that's the type of thing you need in your team. So he is a must-have.
Yeah. Where would he play for you in your Supercoach side, do you think?
I'll trade out Hammer for him at heartbeat.
Catch a Hammer, Noah's in. Number 2.
Number 2. Okay, so my team is desperately lacking a good hooker. Now we have Carlos Yulo, the Filipino gymnast, who got double gold. So he got gold in the men's vault, gold in the men's floor. He's only 1.5 metres tall, but he is small, he is strong, he is powerful, he will dart, he will get over that line for me, he's crafty. So I'm definitely bringing him in at hooker.
Can he play 80, do you reckon?
He can definitely play 80.
Okay.
He has stamina, and also he got given free mac and cheese for life for getting 2 gold medals. So
really? By
that
who?
is living. By someone in his country.
Easy Mac or
he got
something.
given heaps of stuff, but yeah, the mac and cheese, oh my God, living.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Well, Tommy Starling's about 1.5 metres tall, so
True.
that could work.
He can do it.
Yeah. Why not? Number 3.
Okay, I have one more, and that is French pole vaulter Anthony Amirati. And the reason I'm bringing him in is because my team definitely needs some of that BDE. Definitely.
I like it. Strong options. BDE will take you a long way.
Hard to go past.
Spy.
All right, for me, incidentally, this is also my potential replacement for my sport person love of my life now that SJ is retiring, and it is Maria Fay, Australian beach volleyballer. She's a gun. I actually watched her at last Olympics as well. We're in the quarters or semis tonight, so go the girls. She's a super competitor. She's crafty. She's very good. Let's be honest, she's super hot. So fair play to her. But I really like her. So she's a good one. She comes straight in, probably as a weekly VC option, Maria Fay. to partner this bloke who won't be in the 7A, and I'll give you the tip, but he's here as a culture guy. Eric the Eel. We all remember Eric, 2000 Olympics. He's not going to start in my 7A. He knows he'll probably never play, but I'll tell you what, he's the kind of effort guy you need around the boys when chips are down. He's a motivator, man. Like, he'll turn up. He's not going to miss a game through a niggle, so he's just the kind of bloke I want in my squad. And thirdly, because I have saved trades, I can have a third, and it's pretty easy on it. Steph Curry. Why not? What a combination.
Just because you want to have a coffee and a meeting with him to recruit him into your team.
What a trifecta that is.
Very good. Look, I have gone two. I've gone very Australian-centric with my ones because I thought that was stay loyal. Naomi Fox.
How good.
After her goal last night. I mean, just when you think Jess Fox is the biggest legend on the planet, her sister comes out, wins gold, and could be even cooler than her.
Weapon.
Yeah. Anyway, the logic behind that one, I don't know what the exact name of the event is, the canoeing, kayaking, whatever his event, but watching her overnight, just bumping around those pins and those flags, whatever the hell you want to call them. What is the number one element of Supercoach scoring that you look to? It's tackle busting.
Yeah.
I can picture, and this is probably one more for Bundy Mixer at the moment, but for my Bundy Mixer team, I'm bringing Fox into my team because she'll bust tackles for fun. And my second one, Kyle Chalmers, absolute elite swimmer. And why Kyle Chalmers, you ask? Because he's a slow starter, much like the Kuma Stallions.
Ooh, yep.
But he fires home into medal contention every single time. Am I saying the Stallions are going to finish in medal contention this year? Yes, I am.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And if you need any inspiration for it, it's Kyle Chalmers because he is an absolute rocket, comes from the back. Love what I see. So, yeah, there's our Olympic Supercoach players.
Oh, Eric the Eel, also obviously very cheap. So that's a money-free exercise as well.
And also Snoop Dogg is going to be my team manager.
Yeah. How good is he?
He's been the highlight of the Olympics, the Snoop, hasn't he?
Oh, amazing.
Commentating the Rugby 7.
Oh, man.
One of the greats. Guys, that miserable time of year has come around once again. Not missing out on head-to-head finals for a third straight season and being the laughing stock of your Supercoach comp, tax time. We have a special call-out to any of our self-employed SC Playbook faithful who may have been hit with a hefty tax bill this year and you don't know what to do with it. If this is sounding familiar and you're a little unsure about how to attack it, there are plenty of options out there to keep more money in your pocket, especially if you currently have a place of your own. Give Paddy and the team at Mortgage Choice SCW a call and they can let you know how to most effectively consolidate any tax debt. Usually it'd sting you $129, but if you mention SC Playbook, it's completely free of charge. To do so, flick the team a message on Instagram at mortgagechoice_SCW, or you can give them a call on 02 9521 1611. Doesn't matter where in Australia you are based. Hot topics for round 23. Most traded in and out players. Number one, Kalen Ponga. The bloke that this time last year you had to have in your team, or you would just waving goodbye to your season, one run after another. 648k. We've been looking at this bloke for a while and waiting for this tough string of games to end and obviously get a few games under his belt from injury. But yeah, 648k, 70 point per game average for the season. A break even of 104, but it's a dream draw home spy. It's an interesting one because hard to argue with, but there's a lot of good fullbacks out there. What are your thoughts?
Straight in for me, but my only issue when we get to trades is for who. But yeah, that's all I'm going to say on KP because hopefully everyone's off getting a cup of tea or a beer and they don't hear it and they don't trade him in because I want a piece.
Alrighty. Well, I think that's fair because he's going to feature in my trades as well. And as you said, it's who to trade out and we'll get to that person soon. But, I mean, is he in your trade plans, Clem, or not?
I only have 6 trades left, so I'm not 100% sure.
I have 6 and I'm happy with it.
Yeah.
I do have to get rid of Lil Pappy, I think. So definitely he is a consideration and he is playing the Tigers and they have conceded 86 points to fullbacks in the last 4 games. So I think he could be one to bring in this week.
And he's goal kicking again, 22 from 23 for the season, FYI.
Spy... Let's play devil's advocate. I'm very keen on him, and I can make a million reasons why you would get him in, but he's played 3 games, 3.5 if you include Origin, back from injury, where he missed about 10 weeks on the trot. In those games, 71 points, 49 points, 56 points. It is a soft draw home. Tigers, Sharks, Rabbitohs, Titans, Dolphins. 3 of those 5 are at the McDonald Jones Stadium in Newcastle. 2 of those 5 are at the McDonald Jones Stadium in Newcastle. 3 of those 5 are at the McDonald Jones Stadium in Newcastle. 3 of those 5 are at the McDonald Jones Stadium in Newcastle. 3 of those 5 are at the McDonald Jones Stadium in Newcastle. 3 of those 5 are at the McDonald Jones Stadium in Newcastle. 3 of those 5 are at the McDonald Jones Stadium in Newcastle. 3 of those 5 are at the McDonald Jones Stadium in Newcastle. 3 of those 5 are at the McDonald Jones Stadium in Newcastle. 3 of those 5 are at the McDonald Jones Stadium in Newcastle. 3 of those 5 are at the McDonald Jones Stadium in Newcastle. 3 of those 5 are at the McDonald Jones Stadium in N I actually thought the Knights were terrific on the weekend.
Yep.
Kalen Ponga didn't see a lot of quality ball, though. The Knights aren't exactly firing at the moment. I mean, I even look back a couple of games back to the Broncos where they were towed up in that one. That was in Newcastle. They're not playing great footy. We're all expecting them, and I think we're living in last year where they had this big run home. They're playing for a final spot. They got the soft draw. I don't, like... Again, if there was no other options, you'd be like, of course. But Tom Trbojevic, Scott Drinkwater, James Tedesco, there are so many great fullbacks.
Yeah, I know a little something about living in 2023. So hopefully this one comes to fruition. But absolutely, there's plenty of good fullback options. For me, I'm just a massive Kalen fan. As soon as he's goal kicking again, he had Penrith last week, who are, as we know, the bee's knees of defence in the competition, and he looked good enough to me. He passed the eye test for me and that he was looking to create. He made a nice line break late, and he's got the Tigers this week. So I'm not looking too far ahead at that price. It's lovely, but I'm also a massive KP fan, so it doesn't take much for me to want to bring in the big fella. Obviously, the knock is Knights lose one or maybe even one more, they're probably gone.
Yeah.
So if you're going to put anyone on ice for the rest of the season, it's Kalen Ponga, especially with young Sharpie at fullback there who can come and get some minutes.
I don't think they'll put him on ice because he's missed so many games this year.
Yeah. I just wonder if there's a couple of weeks left and you've literally got Fletcher Sharp there.
Yeah.
Get a few games into him potentially. So that worries me a little bit, but I am banking on them winning this weekend and being hopefully even just one game out.
You get caught up in the concept of putting people on ice a bit, I reckon.
Maybe.
I see the value in resting players, but like you try telling Kalen Ponga, oh mate, just precautionary, you're fully
Shut
fit
you down
and fine.
early.
It's half the season, we'll shut down. He'd go, mate, you're kidding yourself.
Yep, you're dreaming.
Yeah, I'm not buying it.
Oh, I'm back on board.
Number 4, Zach Lomax, 667k, 77 point per game average. I mentioned we've been waiting for Kalen Ponga for a while. A week earlier than I expected with Zach Lomax because they've got the Dogs this week, one of the best defensive records in the competition. 87 break even. He's not exactly going up in price in any rush. I thought, Spy, that people would have waited one more week. That being said, the Dragons were tremendous last week. They're playing for a final spot. It's at Cogger Oval. Look, if not this week, certainly next week. I like the play for the run home.
Yeah, not this week versus the Dogs. 2 reasons for that. One, the Dogs' defence is outstanding. It's a massive match. You'd expect them to be up for it, but I'll jump ahead to something I was going to say later. Let me just read out for you how St George have gone this season, and with particular note to what happens after they win a game or two. Won by 24 points, lost by 38. Lost by 24. Won by 8, lost by 20. Won by 12. Won by 18. Oh, looking a bit of form. Lost 60 to 18. Won by 10. Won by 18. Oh, going good again. Dogs 44-12 next game. Beat Penrith. Beat Dragons. Oh, lost by 16. Won by 20. Lost by 30. It is like that. And I think the logic behind that is really think Flanagan is such a good coach that he's elevating him for games to get up for them. You cannot physically do it with that squad week in, week out. So my question is, after just beating Melbourne, gee, it's a big test this weekend. I know it's back at home, but against the Dogs, I'm very, very happy to wait a week on Lomax, but I think he's a gun.
That game against the Storm would have taken a lot out of it. They put everything they had into that game of footy.
Won by 4, lost by 36. Won by 2, what's next? So, yeah. Then they have the Titans the week after, so I really like that Titans.
I like him from next week.
Yeah.
Clem, number 5th most traded in Cameron Munster. I moved early on him last week. 535k, 62 point per game average. Knocked out I think a 64 in that game. Look, the game did not go as planned for my Supercoach team or for the Melbourne Storm. But, yeah, he's got a 78 break even. Very cheap, Cameron Munster, and he looks pretty good. He's moving pretty freely. What are your thoughts on him as a trade-in?
Yeah, I brought him in last week, actually. I followed you. So I really like him as a trade-in. He's really cheap. And I think, yeah, like you said, like he looked really good to start the game and then, kind of faded out a bit. But they just got, that was just a strange game. But, yeah, he's a resting risk. But if you've got a backup 5'8" there, I like bringing him in. I think bring him in.
Spite?
I like him.
Yep.
Especially that price, man. If you just go
So
sideways
cheap.
to him. Whew.
Number 10, Brian Toto, 768k, 72 point per game average, 136 break even. The big one here, Spy, is he moved to the right side on the weekend. That's huge for the Penrith Panthers because I didn't want to, particularly when he was over 800k and the rest, I didn't want to go near him on the left wing. I know he scored a few, but that was with Cleary out. Luai had a bit more ball on the left edge. Cleary's back now, and I think it's a defensive move because that right edge with Isaac Tungo was struggling badly. Him and Taruba, I think they've swapped them around.
Yep.
It was only 1 week, note that, but Toto back on the right, he could finish big. It's a soft draw. I do think he'll get a rest probably at some point. That being said, the minor premiership race is back up, so does that impact things? What do you reckon?
You could definitely never knock Brian Toto as a buy. Pleasure to own. Right side's lovely. I do wonder, Taruba's a very small dude, and he had Marju last weekend, so maybe it was just, as you said, purely a case of we're going to need you Toto on the right edge there. But either way, Cleary sweeping to the left now, which I think you spoke about the other day, that opens up an avenue for points for that left winger. Brian Toto, I would never, ever knock anyone buying big Brian Toto. Love him.
I'm eyeing with my final couple of trades I've got Roosters boys in mind next week. They play the Storm. It'll be a big game. Very big game, actually. I can't wait for that one.
Yes.
But eyeing him for after that. The only thing will be, as I said, potential restings, but we'll see how that Storm Panthers game plays out and where the ladder sits, etc. Clem, some very interesting ones on the most traded out list. And this is where I say we really need to focus on head-to-head because this is why. Dominic Young, 666k, 73 point per game average. Soft run home for the Roosters. He's the second most traded out. Hamstring twinge on the weekend, failed to finish the game. It is believed to be very minor. They've got the bye this week. Hoping to be back the following week. Let's tie into this number 3, James Tedesco, 869k and 87 point per game average. Teddy, fit, firing, unbelievable this season. 2 that really surprised me. I suppose I get it from a very short-term head-to-head perspective, but gee whiz, from next week onwards with the Roosters run home, if you went through to week 2 of the finals, you're going to be in strife without him, I think.
I'm going to start with Teddy. I do not get this at all. I see what you're saying with head-to-head, but he's like the top scoring player in the game. He's the top scoring fullback in the game. So you knew he was going to be on a bye this week. So I don't understand trading him out. He's going to finish as the top scorer, likely in Supercoach. So where is your cheat codes for these trades? How are you trading him out? I don't get it.
It's the most fired up I've ever seen you, and I like it.
I'm so passionate about Teddy. I love Teddy. Dom Young, I mean, we don't know if he's going to be back next week, but he was always going to be on the bye this week. I get it for head-to-head because maybe he's one of your 4 big CT dubs and you're counting on those big points from him. But if you can hold in your overall, I would 100% save that trade this week and look at what his injury is reported as next week and make your decision then.
What are your thoughts, Spy? And I suppose taking into consideration week 1 head-to-head finals, people going Kalen Ponga v Tigers. I think especially people sitting 5th to 8th and only have one crack at it. They're in their final life. And they've got James Tedesco there and they're probably going Teddy to Ponga. What do you make of those two?
In short, I'd sell everyone mentioned tonight before selling either of those 2 Roosters boys with that run home. They come back to play Parramatta, Titans, Raiders and Rabbits. It's a fair old run. What I would say, if you've got 16 players this week and you're in that scenario where you need to win your head-to-head, that's when I get it. You might need to get rid of one of them. Definitely Dom Young first, ahead of Teddy. But as you said, if you really want KP and you think Kalen Ponga that is, and you think that's the difference made for the weekend, then rules kind of go out the window if you think you desperately need a play to save your head-to-head. Now, Roosters on the bye. Knights don't play till
Knights
Sunday,
play the
Arvo.
final game of the round.
So you can
That's
wait as long as you can for that. You'll already know if you've got 16 players or you're relying on an AE, how you're going. Teddy to Kalen Ponga, Sunday Arvo at, 3:30 or whatever, is the final play there if you need it. You just keep it up your sleeve. Perfect.
Yeah, so it is. If you need to make that trade to win your head-to-head final,
Go for goal.
pull the trigger.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if you don't, and as you said, you'll know by then, use it elsewhere. And for overall players, if there's anyone doing it, I just don't like it. And honestly, even head-to-head players, as I've said, you're going to come back next week and they've got that run through the rest of the finals and they could defeat you in every game by not owning them. So, and
they're all getting a rest this weekend.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
God. And And the 9th on the list. I feel like we've spoken about this play every week for the last 3 months, but he remains so relevant. Jaden Campbell's the ninth most traded out, 741k. He averages 75 this season. He has 3 tons in about his last 5 games. Clem, people are getting rid of him. I think he's an out-and-out keeper at 5'8".
I 100% agree. I think he's definitely a keeper. I know he only scored the 45 last week, but he still looked really good. And like you said, like he's got so many tons like in the last like few weeks. I just think if you can hold him. Yeah, he's not got any buys coming up. I don't know. I just think it's a wasted trade.
Yeah, and if you're moving, people are probably moving him to Ponga, maybe fullback, whatever. But get rid of one of your 5'8", put Campbell at there, and then bring him in at fullback. Spy?
They have a somewhat tough run home.
They do, but they are playing serious footy.
Jaden Campbell's busy, goal kicks. Last weekend, 2 things happened. One, they targeted that Brisbane edge with Ezra Mann, which is foreign and Beau Fermor's side. So he didn't see much footy. It was clear to see, and
Jojo had a field
it
day.
made sense, and they just destroyed them. That's not going to happen week in, week out. So Jaden will be back in that sense. All the tries are in the right corner. Very hard to kick. For those wondering, I also had a 3-leg multi on him to score a try, and it would have been a nice $150. And the old bunker stitched me up. So, and 30 Supercoach points. Was not happy at that point. I'll give you the tip guys. But yeah, hold him because he's busy enough. But if you are selling, it's a somewhat tricky run home. That's my only flag on him.
I just love what I'm seeing from the Titans intact. They're playing good footy, and I just don't see anyone at 5'8" that I want over Jaden Campbell. Clem,
I'm going to say that he tons up this week.
There you go.
He scores in a pattern, 140. It's 100 week.
Looking forward to it.
Do you still have him, Spy?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there you go. Spy, talk. Things you may have missed.
Not much left, which is you'll be happy to know.
We've touched on them all. Got a little note from Spy 1 minute before the show. Oh, yeah, I've got Spy talk, things you may have missed. Righto, we'll factor that in.
As if that's new. I tell you that every time I have it. 1 minute before the show.
What do you got, Spy?
Let me go, mate. Free the Spy.
Hashtag free the Spy.
All right, it's actually the first one's a fact. I was telling you the other week. 7 times this year, I've dropped a bloke who has subsequently tonned up the following match. 7. And I might have figured out where my season stagnated at 5,000. Why can't I jump? Because I keep dropping blokes before they ton up.
Looking forward to your trades this week after doing that.
Full season review incoming. But as to why I did that, but I'm like, geez, it's not good. Sammy Walker's one of them. Ton since I dropped him, and I was very reluctant. That's a story for another day. Onto that, Damien Cook has also, I think, gone ton since I dropped him. Surely he's now out of contention for out of the 80 minutes with Mamzoulis back on the bench, and Bunny's out of contention. This is more for me and my sanity, because this is why I dropped him.
Spy talk. Spy's sanity.
Sanity check. Anyway, that's rhetorical or not, but really interesting to see this week if Mamzoulis does take minutes.
He's on the
him.
bench. So
If he doesn't, I'm going to be pissed.
Yeah, surely.
And finally, the Estray farewell trade. That round 27 buy is so annoying because I probably would have saved a trade to use him.
Yeah.
You can't really afford to bring him in round 26 and then have no one in 27. So that's a shame. Might be for the best Supercoach score-wise, but would have been nice to give him one final run. And that's Spy Talk for today.
Quality as always, Spy. Good stuff. No, I do like it. Guys, trades and skippers for round 23. Clem, I will start with you. What do you got for us?
Well, I was going to get rid of a little Pappy. I think I really want to get rid of him. I'm not sure who to yet, but I am interested now after chatting to maybe Kalen Ponga or Tommy T. I also need to do something with that second row because I didn't realise that I had no one to play until just before. So I really need to look at those.
Ellie and Fermor.
And Fermor. and Dom Young as well.
And Katoa's out. Katoa's out. Joe Chan had previously been starting on the edge due to injury, not there at all. So
Yeah.
So he's clearly devastated for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so going to have a look at that carnage, I think, when I get home. As far as skippers, I think I'm going to VC Clary and captain Val. I just think that Val looks so in form that I, desperately, don't want to miss out any more tons from him.
Yeah. And they said the Broncos' edge defence absolutely shot. So bold, but I like it. I said back-to-back tons from him. Spy, what are you looking at?
All right, Kalen Ponga. Here's the issue, boys and girls. Who do I drop? So we've got Tedesco at the back. He's not getting dropped. We have Jaden Campbell down at 5'8". He's not getting dropped. It's down to 2 people, and it's Dylan Brown, or this is more. It's just frustrating. Dane Laurie, back at fullback. Minus like 10 break even or something good. Parramatta game, love it. But then Edwards could be back next week, and I want Brown back. Super frustrating. I think I have to keep Brown, but I bought in Laurie for his upside while Edwards is out. I'm looking like I'm going to get 19 minutes total out of him and have to trade him now. Or I could just keep Laurie, swing for the fences, hope for a couple of weeks. It's a frustrating one. Brown does have Saints, who up and down, as we know, and Tigers round 27. And he's run the ball pretty damn well, so I think I've got to get rid of Dane Laurie.
He does go Panthers, and then is it Storm? Panthers and Storm, or Panthers and Roosters, I think it is, next 2 weeks, still Brown.
That's not easy either. Roosters don't worry me because they've apparently forgotten how to tackle.
Interesting.
When I'm at the footy, they conceded 34 the other night when I was at the footy watching them.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
2 weeks on the trot, Dolphins and Manly, they've conceded big points, but
30 plus both weeks, so...
Still.
There's
Thoughts?
another
Give some
option.
thoughts. Yep.
You could just miss out on getting Kalen Ponga and just let me bring him in for a
I
spell.
could. That
be
would
fine.
not be happening. I did ponder the thought of just maybe not getting KP, but that Tigers matchup, kicking goals, hard to throw away.
You've got to go Laurie.
I know.
It helps a little bit that they've got Melbourne next week, which realistically, that game could be for the minor premiership. So massive game.
Every chance Edwards returns. Para do traditionally stick it to Penrith a bit as well. Regular season.
They do,
so
yeah.
maybe
Para were good on the weekend.
They were good, so yeah.
You've got to go Laurie.
Thanks for your 19 minutes, Dane. PPM of 4,000. It's been good times.
Matty, what are you eyeing off, mate?
I'm not finished yet. Hang on.
Oh, sorry.
Calm down over there, Matty.
What do you got?
I may need to fund Crichton next week, and don't laugh at me, but I still have Drew Hutchison. So I could drop down to like a Stone Street or whoever. However, if people keep getting injured, there's a month to go. I don't want to just trade Drew for no reason when he's sitting there not creating a headache. Sitting in the corner doing his homework, I don't care. Because if I use a trade on him and then next week, let's say Katoa's out for a month, I'm like, I'll just waste the trade to free up cash I don't need.
How many trades left?
Good question. Came into the week with 7, so 6 with KP. It's not a bad spot, but I'll just double check. I think if I can actually sell Dylan Brown in 1, that's the other thing. If I do sell Dane Laurie, because he didn't rise in price, I might need to downgrade Drew, which obviously I'm happy to do, but I don't want to waste one trade on something I potentially don't need to do in the future. So just one to ponder, but yeah, it might force my hand if I sell Laurie.
Yep. Matty?
Easy for me. I've still got Dry Gray, so him out. He did well for me last week, which is good. And Ponga straight in. And I'll captain probably
Ponga.
Cleary.
Ponga.
Or
Oh,
Ponga.
easy little play.
Yeah. Cleary or Ponga? Probably
Ponga.
I don't know.
It's fun. It's funner.
It is funner, but I didn't captain Cleary 2 weeks ago and it killed me, so
Yeah.
probably Cleary.
Spy your skippers?
Well, the way it stands, if I do go Drew down, I'm actually going to get Jed Cartwright because I just don't think I need that spot, and that dual flexibility will allow me some future flippage from basically selling someone like Fanua Blake in round 27 to a high-flying centre. So that's why I want to get someone like Jed rather than a Stone Street, who probably won't be playing then anyway. With that being said, that will give me 18 players this weekend with Sam Hughes sitting out. A bit of a half loop on the cards again, I reckon. I wouldn't mind VCing Nath Cleary Friday night versus Para. If he goes mental, I'll drop someone and loop, but Kalen Ponga, Sunday Arvo, all in.
Yep. I am looking at, I've had a 3-4 week plan in place for a while now to set my side up for the run home. So I'm looking at, it has only varied with the Payne Haas injury, but Payne Haas to Paseka at this stage, and then Pappenhausen to Ponga, like, cash your own checks, anytime try scorer bets for Ryan Pappenhausen against the Bunnies. He's going to kind of get 200. It's just the way my season's gone. I hate selling him before this game, but 11 in that game on the weekend, Ponga versus the Tigers,
He doesn't get 11 without that injury impacting him. Simple as that.
Absolutely not. No.
His lowest ever base is probably like 40.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Madness. So with the game next week with Penrith as well, if there was another soft one next week, I'd go, oof, can I make a case? But I don't like the Penrith matchup next week anyway. So we'll be doing those two at this stage. Probably won't alter from them. And then next week, Joey Manu, that gives me the cash to go. Joey Manu and Angus Crichton in bang bang.
Nice.
Which leaves me 2 trades left for the final 3 weeks, but it also leaves me a bit of a war chest to play with for those 2 trades, so I can have a bit of fun with those and hopefully not have to make too many desperate moves. But yeah, that's what we're looking at. Captains are tough, aren't they?
Yeah.
I also like, especially where I'm ranked, swing for the fences a little bit. I like the Kalen Ponga play. I mean, Nathan Cleary becomes the obvious VC, but as I said, even Cam Munster against the Bunnies in that game in there. But look, Cleary's the obvious one. He's the best one to go 150 plus. If Para don't show up, so probably VC Cleary into a C, Kalen Ponga.
Yeah, with Cleary swinging both sides and Para coming back from New Zealand, it's like it's a reasonable trip.
Them.
He could go mental.
I know.
So I think at the very least I'll VC him
Yep.
just to at least enjoy that game of footy for one.
Couple of questions before we wrap it up. First one from Super RL. It's a good one. Should the Telly, being the Telegraph, consider launching an NRLW Supercoach next year? Supercoach brings great engagement to the game and start of the NRLW season times well with overall engagement starting to drop in NRL Supercoach due to low trade or elimination from head-to-head finals. Clem, how good would Supercoach NRLW be?
Oh my God, I would love this, and I'm pretty sure there's so many other people who would love this too. They should absolutely bring this in. It's just so good for the game as well. It gets more people engaged in watching the games and just, 100%, do it. Do it, Telly.
That's it. Obviously, they've got Bunny Mixture at the moment to tie us over, but
Yeah.
just a straight NRLW one would be 6 by.
Oh, that in Origin would be so good.
Yeah.
Do not want finals because I just want to really zone
Yeah.
in on the NRL for finals and the rugby league, but how good would those two be?
Awesome. One from Andrew Benny, head-to-head player. Who is the better buy option out of Kiraz and Lomax? So head-to-head player, we're looking at head-to-head finals. Let's assume round 23 to round 26. Clem, who do you like out of these two players, obviously playing each other this week?
I mean, I love Kiraz, so I'm a massive Kiraz fan, so I'm going to go him.
Spite?
Honestly, I think there's not much in it, but yeah, I've started with Kiraz. I love Kiraz, so I couldn't go against him, but there's not much in that, mate. Flip a coin.
Kiraz goes Dragons, Dolphins, Warriors, Manly over the next 4 weeks. It's a good draw. And Lomax has the Doggies this week, as we know, the tough one. The Doggies into the Titans, into the Sharks at win, and then the Eels. So, look,
I reckon Lomax could do him.
you just don't want people getting Kiraz.
No, I genuinely reckon Lomax is fire.
I like
for that
Kiraz.
run home, yeah.
I like Kiraz. I mean, they're both playing great footy. I just like the run a little bit better. Kiraz, he's unbelievable.
Done.
Next question comes in hot from... This one's for you, Spy, and I'm putting you on the spot here big time. Matt Sheen. It's right in your ballpark.
All right, Ponting.
What constitutes kick and regather points? Were Walker and Walsh stiff on the weekend?
Yeah, I think they're gone. The only person I was seeing get one was Connolly Lemuelu last year. For some reason, they must have owned him with me, whoever the stat people were. But I'm assuming what happens is the Fox stats people that do it just kind of forget about that. There must be a little column down the end of the table. They just forget to put it in because I've barely seen it in years. So don't get your hopes up. The other thing is though, Walsh, for example, went straight through the line. He already had a line break, so you don't then get added one if you chip the fullback. But Sammy Walker
He may have as well. He went through and chipped Hammer.
But he did it twice. The first one, he chipped the line. So
he did too.
That's when he probably could have got one.
I wonder, do they not award it when they score?
I don't know.
mean, it's stupid.
But don't get your hopes up on that, that's for sure.
Yeah, just don't get too excited. One from Ash Schofield. Who would you cancel out in a head-to-head matchup? So must be playing these two and wants to maybe trade him one to counteract them. Jaden Campbell or Joe Tarpany Spy?
This week, I think you'd have to cancel Jaden Campbell because he's got the upside. He scored 170 a month ago.
Clem's already tipped him for a ton, so that probably answers your one.
Yeah, I'm the same. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, he's got the upside.
They've got
Go
the
the
Sharks.
upside every time, I
Sharks on the
reckon.
Goldie. I think you've got to cancel out Jaden Campbell if you're looking at one of those two. One from Timothy Taylor. I mean, this one's a big one for you, Clem, because you're toying over as well. But Turbo or Ponga? To get Turbo, I'd have to go Hasta Joe Offengawi. Joe Fingow is actually one that I didn't bring up, but he's a cheaper front row forward option as well. Really good last week with big base. I think he's been named on the bench again, though. Minutes are just an issue, so probably not for me. But yeah, have to go Joe O with Tarpany my other front row forward. Just on the Turbo or Ponga. I mean, it's an interesting one because Turbo now comes into a draw. I think Manly are a team to target over the next 5 weeks by.
I'm terrified of Turbo. I just rather that.
I would definitely go Turbo.
We just spoke about your trades and you weren't sure.
Yeah, but I might not have enough. I've run my Supercoach bank account into the ground as well, which I didn't mention. It's a financial decision. So it's a financial decision, but I don't know.
So if you had the coin, you're saying you might get Turbo.
You guys have kind of talked me into Ponga too. I'm no help Timothy Taylor. I am on the fence. I'll let you know when I decide.
Spite.
Ponga.
So tough because if I'm betting who scores more points out of these two on the run home, I'm saying Tom Trbojevic. Their run's great. Manly's attack is humming. Big price difference. It's around about 200k or so. It's
Same price? I think I'd still go Ponga. Just.
Right. Yep. Same price, I'm going Turbo. 200k cheaper. That's a lot. It's a big difference this time of year, so I'm probably on Ponga. Question from, let's go with Peter Hambesis. He's got 4 trades left with 2 planned ins. Is it worth using one of the 2 emergency trades I have to go Britton Nickera to Joe Tarpany via Jules? Says he's concerned about Nickera's output spy.
Hell no. That's a short
I don't get
answer.
it either.
No, just definitely not.
Seen a lot of it around selling Nickera.
So Nickera or anyone, right? Let's say you think they're going to reduce from 60, 65 average to 55 or 53 and you're getting someone that might average 70. It's like a best case almost. 20 extra points for 5 weeks. You get yourself 100 points in an absolute best case scenario, and it's probably likely not to be that. You might end up using a trade for like 40 points here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I understand it could go off and Tarpany might kill it, but Nickera just needs like 1 try in the final month and he won't be too far away.
Tarpany probably averages 65 and just like rock solid like he's done all season. His minutes haven't increased much. They've been rock solid all year.
You want to save that trade for in a few weeks' time and there's just an obvious matchup and you get a bloke scoring 180. Yeah. That's what you want it for.
Britton Nickera, 2 weeks in the 40s, all in base stats. There was no attack. You've got to have bigger headaches than that in your team. Let's finish it up, Clem. One from £1 Kiff. Cody Walker or Dylan Brown? I felt we have a question around like 5/8 sell every week. Cody Walker or Dylan Brown to Kalen Ponga? Who would you sell?
I'm going to go Cody Walker. I already did it last week. I know that he's back from injury, but I mean, yeah, I'd go Cody Walker.
Spite?
Yeah, wasn't listening.
Cody Walker or Dylan Brown to Kalen Ponga?
You said one more. Finish with you, Clem.
Oh, sorry, mate.
So again, Cody Walker to Dylan Brown or Ponga. I don't hear that at all. So I'm done.
Cody Walker or
You know
Dylan
what?
Brown
You know what?
to Ponga?
Brush it.
I did tell everyone I could do this once a week and I didn't do it last week. But that was genuine. I thought you were done with Clem. I was preparing my sign-off. You don't need me. You've got it. Clem's
For what
good.
it's worth, I'd flip Cody Walker because of the injury concern. Guys, let's wrap that up for the SC Playbook NRL Supercoach podcast for round 23. Clem, it's been fun as always. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. It's been great.
Spite.
Good times. Might have gone unnoticed, but played hurt today. A little bit of treatment on the skin up here, some damage, and just fought through it. Got the job done, so hopefully 2 points are coming my way.
I thought you were just fired up. Head full of steam.
Some horns coming out here. It's actually quite sore.
Right, guys, we'll wrap that up. Thanks for tuning in and good luck this week.